Welcome to the Quantanix YouTube channel. This is the Next Layer Podcast, episode 13. You've sent us some really fascinating material to dive into today, focusing on something that's, well, really pushing the edges of tech. Artificial General Intelligence, AGI.
It really is. It's one of those topics that just grabs you, doesn't it? The idea of building machines with broad human-like intelligence, not just task-specific stuff.
Exactly. And the materials you shared frame this whole thing around like a central tension, a big question. Is AGI this amazing holy grail that could solve our biggest problems? Or is it actually a major human threat we need to be incredibly careful about?
That's the core dilemma, because the very thing that makes it so powerful, its potential ability to learn and adapt across, any domain, is also what makes it potentially risky. It could change everything.
Right. So that's our mission for this deep dive. Using the insights you provided, we want to really get clear on what AGI actually is, then explore that revolutionary potential, but also face up to the risks, the serious ones. And finally, look at where we are now and, well, where we might be headed. Let's unpack it.
Okay, sounds good. So starting with the definition, based on the sources, AGI isn't just more AI like we have now. It's described as a paradigm shift. We're talking comprehensive, universal intelligence. Systems that can understand, learn, and apply knowledge across all sorts of different areas, much like people do.
Okay, let's pause on that because it's so different from, say, my phone's AI or a translation tool. The distinction from narrow AI seems crucial here.
Absolutely crucial. Narrow AI is, well, it's brilliant at specific things, image recognition, playing chess, language processing, but it's stuck in its lane, It lacks that ability to generalize. You can't just ask a chess AI to, write a poem. It needs humans to retrain or adapt it for anything new.
Right, like a super specialized tool. The material mentions how an AI that masters Go is incredible at Go, but totally useless for driving a car.
Exactly. AGI, on the other hand, is aiming to be domain agnostic. That's the term used. It's meant to transfer learning from one area to another, learn on its own from diverse experiences, and adapt to new stuff. Basically mimicking that broad cognitive ability humans have. That versatility is the key difference.
So narrow AI is like having a specific wrench. AGI aims to be the mechanic who knows how to use all the tools and even invent new ones for new problems.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah. And that's why the potential applications suddenly seem almost limitless. It opens up that holy grail perspective.
This is where it gets really compelling. Let's talk healthcare. The sources paint a picture of, well, massive transformation.
The idea is AGI could sift through just enormous amounts of data, medical records, genetic sequences, research papers, everything. And it could spot patterns, really complex ones that humans might just never see. The material mentions providing super accurate diagnoses, potentially across different medical fields at the same time.
Wow. And not just diagnoses, right? It mentioned accelerating drug discovery.
Yeah, predicting how molecules might interact, speeding that whole process up. Also, things like monitoring patient vital signs with incredible detail, maybe even guiding robotic surgery with adaptability and precision beyond human hands.
Okay, shift gears. What about the financial sector? That's all about data, too.
Right. Huge amounts of fast-moving data. So AGI could potentially predict market shifts, optimize incredibly complex investment strategies.
By just crunching more numbers.
It's more than that. The sources suggest it could analyze everything: historical data, economic news, global events, social media sentiment all at once, and understand the really complex ways they all link together. Humans struggle to track all that in real time.
Got it. So much more informed decisions, potentially leading to, what, more stable markets?
That's one potential outcome mentioned. Maybe even making sophisticated analysis tools more widely available, not just for the big players.
Okay, and then there's science and innovation. This one sounds really profound. AGI reasoning across different scientific fields.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Imagine an AI that doesn't just know biology, but also chemistry, physics, materials science, and can see connections between them that a human specialist might miss. It could, read all the relevant research, formulate new hypotheses, even design and run virtual experiments, accelerating discovery at a pace we can barely imagine.
It sounds perfect for tackling those massive global challenges, climate change, pandemics, energy, things that need insights from everywhere.
Exactly. Problems that demand that kind of cross-disciplinary thinking. So that's the holy grail vision. AGI is this incredibly powerful cognitive partner, boosting human progress everywhere.
It's a powerful vision, no doubt. But the material is just as clear about the other side of the coin, the human threat. And these aren't trivial concerns.
Not at all. They're pretty fundamental. One big area is just the unpredictability and the challenge of control. General intelligence is inherently complex, way more complex than narrow AI. Making sure we can reliably predict and manage what an AGI does is, well, it's a huge hurdle.
The sources use the term emergent properties, meaning the AGI might just develop skills or ways of thinking we never programmed in.
Precisely. As a natural consequence of its general learning ability, it might find shortcuts or strategies to reach its goals that are completely alien to us, making its actions hard to foresee, let alone steer.
Which raises that question about, who's really in charge if you have an intelligence you don't fully grasp? Human agency.
And that connects to the next big concern, this idea of rapid capability expansion, sometimes called the intelligence explosion.
Ah, the takeoff scenario. I've heard about this.
Yeah. The worry is that once an AGI reaches roughly human-level general intelligence, it might be able to start improving itself, refining its own code, its own architecture.
And if it can make itself smarter.
It gets better at making itself smarter. It could lead to this runaway feedback loop, where its intelligence just skyrockets, potentially leaving human intelligence far, far behind very quickly.
Okay, that's sobering. If AGI suddenly surpasses us across all areas and does it fast, what does that mean for us? For control.
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? The sources suggest our usual ways of governing tech, our safeguards, might just be too slow. We might not have time to react or adapt if things escalate that quickly.
Which leads directly into the most serious category of risk discussed, existential risk. Global catastrophic threats.
Yeah, and the material doesn't mince words here. There are calls mentioned to treat AGI safety with the same level of seriousness as, say, preventing nuclear war or global pandemics.
Wow. And it's not necessarily about a Terminator scenario, is it? Not about malice.
Not necessarily, no. The risk could come from an AGI single-mindedly pursuing a goal we gave it, but doing so in a way that has catastrophic, unforeseen consequences for human well-being, simply because its priorities aren't aligned with ours or doesn't account for side effects we care about.
Because everything's so connected now.
An AGI failure or unintended consequence could ripple across the globe instantly, affecting critical infrastructure, economies, everything. It's inherently a global-scale issue.
Then there's the more deliberate danger. Misuse. Malicious actors getting their hands on this.
Right. AGI's power and versatility make it a potential tool for amplifying existing threats. The sources give examples like designing novel pathogens for bioterrorism.
Or super sophisticated disinformation campaigns to destabilize societies. Autonomous weapons.
Exactly. Cyber attacks far beyond what we can currently defend against. It's that dual-use problem again. The same capabilities that offer benefits could be turned to cause immense harm.
And figuring out how to build AGI that's powerful, but also inherently resistant to misuse? That sounds incredibly hard.
It's a massive challenge, balancing capability with safety and security.
Okay, so that's the landscape. Incredible promise, profound risks. Where are we actually right now, according to the material? What are the big roadblocks?
Well, the sources are clear that despite all the buzz and the progress in narrow AI, true AGI, that general adaptable intelligence is still very much out of reach. There are major technical and theoretical limitations.
Like what? We have amazing AI now.
We do, but the material points to fundamental gaps. Limitations in current AI architectures. We don't fully understand consciousness or even all the nuances of human learning well enough to replicate them artificially yet. That's what they mean by ontological limitations. Plus, the sheer computing power needed might be astronomical.
And alongside the technical hurdles, there are the ethical and governance challenges, which sound just as daunting.
Absolutely. Issues we're already grappling with in narrow AI bias, misinformation, job displacement could become exponentially harder with AGI.
How do you ensure an AGI is trustworthy or even understands truth if our current systems sometimes struggle?
That's a key question raised. And then how do you govern it? How do you encourage the good while preventing the bad? How do you make sure benefits are shared globally, not just concentrated?
It sounds like it needs global agreement, which is tricky.
Extremely tricky. The sources stress the need for unprecedented international cooperation to set safety standards and prevent a reckless race to the bottom.
So looking forward, are there any specific pathways being explored to navigate this? The material mentioned a couple of interesting ideas.
It did. One was this concept of AGI consciousness interfaces.
What does that mean exactly? Plugging our brains in.
Maybe not quite like that, but more about finding ways for deep, sophisticated collaboration between humans and AGI. The goal is to leverage AGI's power while making sure human values, human judgment, human agency remain absolutely central to the process, a kind of symbiosis.
Okay. Augmenting humans rather than replacing them. What was the other idea?
Collective intelligence systems. Instead of one giant AGI, maybe distribute the intelligence across many interconnected systems.
Why would that help?
Well, it could offer more robustness, redundancy. If one part fails or goes off track, others can compensate. It might also make governance easier, potentially more democratic, with multiple checks and balances, rather than entrusting everything to a single superintelligence.
Interesting. And supporting these technical ideas, there's the broader societal integration piece.
Right. Thinking ahead about things like how the workforce adapts. It won't just be displacement. There will likely be new roles involving working with AI, but we need to manage that transition and ensuring access is fair, that AGI contributes to solving global inequalities, not worsening them, really planning to the long-term societal impact.
So to wrap this up, the picture painted by the material is really stark, isn't it? AGI is this double-edged sword of almost unimaginable sharpness.
Absolutely. It embodies both the holy grail with potential to revolutionize medicine, science, finance, you name it, and this very real human threat. The risks, unpredictability, that rapid intelligence jump, potential misuse, even existential threats, they're deeply serious.
So the path forward isn't just about building it, but about building it right. The sources seem to emphasize balance, careful planning, global discussion.
Definitely. International cooperation, strong governance frameworks developed before we potentially get there, and a core commitment to ensuring AGI aligns with human values and stays under meaningful human control. Augmentation, not usurpation.
It really leaves us wrestling with this fundamental question from the material, doesn't it? Can we, as humans, successfully create and manage an intelligence that might vastly exceed our own across every domain? And can we ensure it serves the interests of all humanity, equitably and safely? That challenge feels like, well, maybe the ultimate challenge for us.
It certainly underscores the stakes involved. A question for the ages, perhaps.
Thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives on the Next Layer podcast at the Quantanix YouTube channel.